And welcome and thanks for being here. It's super to see everyone, and it's always a fun day because this is a day we get to celebrate the ingenuity of staff and faculty and their application for grants, and really excited to see everyone. It's Flex Week. We're about to start the spring semester again, so thanks for being here. So before we get started, I just want to go through a few housekeeping notes. What you might want to do is we may be muting everyone, or take care to mute yourself so that you can hear as we go through the presentations today. And I also recommend that if you want to focus in on the presentations really well, to go to speaker view with the view icon up in the right and adjust it away from gallery view to speaker view. Always fun to do that. And that's a good way to make sure that you're focusing in on who's presenting and not checking your homework or something like that, right? By the way, before I get started too far into this, one of the best social media memes I've seen in the last couple of days was about the inauguration and seeing Dr. Jill Biden, the vice president, or excuse me, the president's wife. And somebody posted a thing on Facebook yesterday after the inauguration saying it was a shot of all four of them, the husbands and wives, and it said, Dr. Biden looks awfully calm for somebody who has to complete 4 syllabi by the end of the week. So it's kind of exciting to have a teacher in the White House representing us in the education community. All right, so I'm going to turn it over at first to our wonderful foundation chair, Claire Biancalana. And I think many of you know that Claire is one of the individuals who has hit it for the cycle in terms of being in almost every role that you could possibly imagine at Cabrillo, from student to employee to faculty to ultimately serving as vice president and president at one point. And now she gets the luxury of occasionally calling me on the phone and saying, I would do it that way, not this way. So Claire, I'm going to hand it over to you, and thanks for being here for today's session.
Thanks, Matt. I try not to call you honest, try hard. So I do have a history at Cabrillo, and because I have a history, I really do know how hard faculty and staff work to promote student success. And I really am so grateful, and I know everyone is so grateful for everything you do that makes Cabrillo such an amazing place. You're just wonderful. And we're pretty fortunate to have a strong grant program for faculty, so faculty can augment their instruction in ways they would never be able to with the normal budgeting process. And I do remember the normal budgeting process, even though it was 15 years ago, I'll never forget it. So we want to thank not only the faculty, but the donors and the whole foundation and staff for all the work they do to make this program possible. The Cabrillo College Foundation has 3 endowments. The first is the Faculty Grants for Student Success, and then the Crocker Endowment Grants and the Engineering and Applied Science Endowment. And this year, $117,251 was awarded to 30 recipients through these grant programs. Pretty amazing. And I am always excited to hear from the grant recipients, because it's so wonderful to hear everything that goes on in the classroom. So I'm very excited about that. But before, I have one more thing I want to do, and that is to take a moment to remember 2 deceased faculty members whose generosity made it possible for the Faculty Grants for Student Success Endowment to grow to $1.7 million. Pretty amazing. So John Morgan and Rod Lundquist, I don't know if you remember them or not, but both of them retired from the English faculty, the English department, and left Cabrillo in their estate plans. So John Morgan, Rod Lundquist, they were both characters in completely different ways. John Morgan taught English literature, and he was a kind, gentle soul. He was the ultimate gentleman. All of his students adored him. But the thing that was hard to believe about him was that he fought in World War II. He was dropped off, or I guess he landed, I shouldn't say he was dropped off, but he landed in Sicily, and he fought the whole way up the Italian peninsula and ended up in Germany at the end of the war. It's just something that you would never, ever associate with this kind, gentle man. And the other person is Rod Lundquist. Rod taught writing, and he was a division chair for a while, back when we had those. And he was part of the surfing community in Santa Cruz, and also part of the hang gliding community. But the thing that was different about Rod, as far as his sports were concerned, was that he liked to hang glide with his dog. So you would see him flying over the cliffs, hanging from his apparatus with his dog hanging beneath him. You can imagine that he encouraged his writing students to write about all of their outdoor adventures, because that's what he loved the most. I'm sure that both John and Rod would be happy to know that their generosity is helping their fellow Cabrillo colleagues to do great things in the classroom. I'm just so proud of those two people. They were wonderful faculty members and completely generous. So now I'd like to introduce Dave Schwartz, Department Chair of Geology, Oceanography, and Environmental Science, and Faculty Grants for Student Success Committee Chair forever. Dave. David, can you unmute?
Yep, going there. Hi, thank you, Claire. Thanks, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. And I first want to say, on behalf of my fellow Cabrillo staff and faculty members, I want to thank the Professional Development Committee, because this award ceremony counts in our Flex calendar. So if you're a faculty member that's here, you can get Flex credit for this. Just be sure and register on My Cabrillo PD. I've had the pleasure of serving as Faculty Grants Committee Chair and a committee member for many years, and it's been an incredible ride. I want to thank Eileen and Caitlin and all the foundation members. You guys are all so professional to work with. It's really an honor. And one of the reasons why it's so much fun to be on this committee, a couple of reasons: you get to meet a lot of people that you otherwise may not meet across our wide campus. And the other reason is it's fascinating, actually amazing, to read about what our colleagues across the campus are doing in their classroom and their labs and what they want. It's just incredible. So, and of course, it's extremely difficult making the selection, because all of the ideas and projects are really important. So we have a wonderful faculty grants and student success committee that's made up of foundation board members and community members and faculty from across our campus. You know, we get together, we first review all the projects on our own. You know, we eventually work towards selecting these recipients. It's engaging, it can be challenging, it's fun. And it's very helpful to have so many different perspectives involved, you know, as these decisions are being made. And of course, we try to recognize all of the programs across our campus in all 5 divisions. So I just want to recognize this year's Faculty Grants for Student Success Committee members, and they are Sherry Barkey, Owen Brown, Seal Cerrillo, Les Forster, Mary Gaukel, Matt Huffaker, Francisco Iniguez, Tobin Keller, Amy Newell, Gunn Reuter. So thank you all. It's an honor to work with all of you. And so before our recipients say a few words, let me just say a few quick words about each of these foundation grants. The Faculty Grants for Student Success was the first program to support faculty at Cabrillo. It was founded by Keith and Eleanor Schaefer back in 1985, about 36 years ago or so. And since then, it's been supported by many other generous donors who are listed in the program. The history is so rich. I remember the days when Keith and Eleanor Schaefer came to the award ceremony in the Cessnon House, and it used to be called the Schaefer Grants for many years. Then that name got changed to Faculty Grants and then Faculty Grants for Student Success. The Crocker Endowment Grant Program was established by Cabrillo alumni, Richard and Teresa Crocker, in 2007. So Richard attended Cabrillo in the early days, and Teresa is a graduate of the dental hygiene program. I also want to give special thanks to the college cabinet members and deans, John Gralty and Cynthia Fitzgerald, who took the task of selecting the Crocker Endowment Grant recipients. So the last grant program the foundation offers is the Engineering and Applied Science Endowment Grant Program. It's known as EASE, the acronym EASE program. It was founded by Mark and Barbara Beck back in 2004. And Barbara was the daughter of a founding physics instructor, Ted Bowen. So other than these three terrific programs from the foundation, we're also fortunate that the Cabrillo Student Senate, also known as the Associated Students of Cabrillo College, ASCC, they generously fund faculty and grant projects as well. So the ASCC Cabrillo College-wide support grants are given to faculty through the Student Senate to enhance educational opportunities for students every year. And this year, they awarded 9 deserving projects totaling over $15,000. So one last thing, I want to acknowledge Alton Northcutt, a longtime colleague and friend of mine, and student senators who are part of the grant selection committee. Thank you all for your hard work and your generosity. So now's the part what we've been waiting for. We want to hear from the award recipients so they can tell us about their projects. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Matt so he can facilitate that process. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Dave, for all the hours and years you put into this too. And Claire, thanks for being here as well. In fact, all the foundation donors who are here, I really appreciate your presence here. It's a great honor to see this. Okay, so I think the best way to do this is I will probably call on you as we go down the list, and I've kind of taken some notes on who's here. And we've got the list of recipients in the chat box. So if you want to go to that, what I'm going to do is I'll introduce you, and you can unmute yourself and then just tell us a little bit about your project and what you're going to use the funds for. And if you've received multiple grants, maybe talk about the projects as you go about describing them. And mainly to focus on how is it going to benefit our students. So unmute, tell us about your projects, how's it going to benefit the students? And I guess I'll kick it off. I'm going to start with, let's see, Jean Gallagher-Heil. Jean, can you unmute? Let's hear about your funding.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Claire, everyone. I just want to appreciate and say thank you to the Faculty Grants for Student Success Committee and all of the incredibly generous donors. We're super excited about this grant. And so what we proposed and what we were awarded was the purchase of something called a swivel. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what that is and how we came to it. So almost every course taught in early childhood education incorporates the use of our Children's Center, Cabrillo College Children's Center and Lab School classrooms. And either at night going into those classrooms or during the day going into our amazing observation booths. And so during the pandemic, of course, ECE faculty have had to scramble to figure out, yikes, what do I do? Because we can't get into the center. The center was closed in the spring. It's now open, but we still can't go into the observation booths. And so we lost this resource that's so embedded in all of our courses. And so we've learned about this technology. And just so you know, the way that our students benefit from typically the observation booths and the classrooms is to see high quality teacher-child interactions with infants and teachers and toddlers and teachers and preschool children and teachers, and the classroom environmental designs and curriculum learning opportunities being implemented, all of which would be evident in those classrooms. So when that was all shut down, teachers had to scramble to find video footage to use in their classrooms, most of which was not done at Cabrillo. We had a few, but not enough. And so we realized there was this gaping hole. And now that the center is open, even though with very, all the COVID planning, very small groups of children, we do have the potential to do some of that. And so swivel technology is a robotic device that's placed in a classroom, could be an adult classroom, but for us, it would be in the children's center classrooms. And a smartphone or a tablet is attached to the device. And then the adult wears something called a marker. And so then the swivel technology follows the marker, and then you have various audio markers around the classroom, including the one that the adult is wearing, that picks up the sound. And so we would be able to create these really wonderful videos that capture children speaking and adults speaking to children, and that whole interactive process, as well as being able to go in the evening and videotape the environments and show that then in our classes. So there's a lot of ways that we're excited about being able to incorporate it. We're sure that now during distance learning that we would use these, and then even in the future be able to use it in a lot of ways, because we'll have the opportunity to take videos and edit them and really have some high quality videos to integrate into coursework, whether it's distance learning or face-to-face in the future. So we're super excited, and now we're trying to work with IT to figure out the whole software piece and move it forward so we can get going on it. That's it.
Thank you, Jean. That sounds awesome. And while we're talking about technology, I was so excited to get to the faculty conversations that I forgot to mention that this year with the Crocker grants, the cabinet usually makes a designation of how to use those funds on an annual basis. And so Eileen put out a notice a few days ago for the start of the semester to announce that the $12,000 allocation that was set up for the Crocker campus-wide grants has been designated for what we're calling faculty and staff technology relief funding. And it's a way to provide some funds to individuals throughout the campus who might want to buy something related to online work at home or online service to students in $500 grants that are essentially no questions asked. If you need something, you buy it. The one thing we ask is you don't ask IT to support it in the way that Jean was describing. So if you're needing like a hotspot or something like that, it's an application that's now open for that kind of purpose. So excited about that. So let me turn to our second presenter from the faculty ranks, and Raina Chalice, you're up next, so you can unmute. Go ahead, Raina.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see all your faces. So I am actually collaborating with the brilliant Nakia Cheney, and we are co-creating a student podcast titled Amplify, which is specifically trying to create a space for our students of color and our Black students to be celebrated for their voices and their lived experiences, which have, as we know, traditionally been marginalized. So we're very excited to receive the funding. We're going to be developing sort of a twofold type of podcast, because right now, as we know, we can't record in person. So we are working out the funds for buying equipment for when we can record in person, but for now we're also using Zoom. So it's going to be a really cool, ongoing, constantly evolving project. So we're really excited about this. And it actually came about because we had the DEI opportunity with Dr. Akinjide. And so Nakia and I really brought together our two diversity, equity, and inclusion projects and created a podcast. So that's really exciting. And I also wanted to offer Nakia a space if you wanted to share anything as well.
Thank you, Raina, and thank everybody. You know, this was a really fun project to do. What we're hoping is that we can actually get students to use their voices, and we can connect with the greater community as well. But we can do that safely online by having, using a podcast. So I don't want to take too much time. I really don't like the spotlight. So I'm gonna just move it back to Raina. But I do appreciate it. And this has been such a pleasure to work on and such a pleasure to do.
Thanks, Nakia. Yeah, and really to address this question that you posed about how this will support our students, we are really wanting to leave the invitation open for them. So if they want to do spoken word, if they want to do poetry, storytelling. So yeah, we're going to be developing our curriculum together. And then hopefully as different narratives surface throughout our courses, because I'm in communication studies, Nakia's in English. So we're thinking that naturally these amazing stories and perspectives will come to the surface. And we're just really excited to use the funding in a productive, effective way. So thank you all so much for this opportunity. And I also put our website link into the chat box. So it's just the beginnings, but we're just happy and excited and just full of, what's the word? We're just inspired. We're totally inspired. So I'm just grateful to collaborate with Nakia, and we'll see where it goes. It's very exciting.
Thanks, Raina. Thanks, Nakia. Super project. Looking forward to hearing some of the podcasts too. All right, so let's see, the next speaker I'm gonna bring up. Why don't we go to Janet Fine and Leslie Loudon. So Janet, do you wanna unmute?
Oh, sure. I guess I will start. I'm Janet Fine from the photo department. I've been here since for 22 years. Last year was my first year that I got a, sorry, I'm being all distracted by this, that I got a grant, and I was so nervous talking that time that, and I was one of the first that I didn't know, and I kind of rushed through and I didn't thank people. So I'd like to really thank everybody involved, the donors. Claire, that was a gorgeous introduction. And I feel like I've heard those names of those people from Jane and Linda, but I liked hearing about people who, and all the people who put in time. Anyway, thank you, we're very appreciative. And you know, when we wrote the grant we're really fresh to entering this new phase, both with COVID and also with Leslie, who will talk. But Leslie Loudon and I, who worked on this together, have we were lucky enough to get her hired on as full-time. She's been adjunct and she has a wealth of information. She already was an expert master online teacher, you know, and so and I don't know why this metaphor came into my head, but for me, this grant feels, I mean, I'm a baseball player, not a football player, but it feels like we wrote the grant a while ago, and now I feel like our department's taking off. We're kind of in a renaissance, and students are really stepping up, and photography is a great form of self-expression at this time. And so I feel like the grant that you guys have enabled us is like the football, and we've already been running, and you know, and Greg here, and he's representing Sean. All the people in our department have been working so hard and creating a really vibrant department that it's, I'm just impressed how we're striving in this time that's hard. And so the grant is like frosting on the cake. So what, you know, what it does for the students, and Leslie can talk more about it, but we already had some digital cameras, but we had a lot of people where we would check out stuff, and there was a lot more in person, and now there's a lot of students online, and this will enable all the people who want to be able to photograph. I mean, this is a perfect time for self-expression and personal narrative, right? What's it like? What's your life like, you know, right now? And so all our instructors are really stepping up, and I just feel really grateful for the money. This will enable, we didn't even get all our equipment back from last spring yet. So this will enable us to supply students with the tools for self-expression. And so thank you. And Leslie, what did I leave out?
That was amazing, Janet.
I don't
Thank
have to
you so
spotlight.
much. That was awesome, Janet. Thank you. We are so excited. I want to thank everyone how kind you are to and generous to the students. Oh, I'm trying to show. We are going to try to purchase as many cameras as we can so that the students will have access to check those out from the wonderful Janet Fine, and a very safe curbside checkout during our our time of COVID. There's been such a demand, as Janet said, for the cameras, and what it does for us as the instructors, as it allows us to have a breadth of cameras that are very similar, so that when we're on Zoom with the students, or when they come in to talk to Janet, we know how their camera works, and so that they all have access to a similar camera. So we're just so thankful to all of you for funding this, and every single one of those cameras will be used as soon as we get them in the door. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet and Leslie, for being here and for the work you're doing. I love the photo focus backgrounds that you have with the themes that you have for the speakers as well. All right, let's turn to Kelly Horner. If you're here, you've received multiple grant funds this year, so maybe you can kind of talk about the STEM Center and your approach.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks, Matt. Can everybody hear me? So good evening to everybody. My name is Kelly Horner. I'm the Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Director, the STEM Center Coordinator, and also engineering faculty here at Cabrillo. On behalf of all the students that are taking STEM courses, transfer students, and STEM majors, I would like to thank the donors and Student Senate and the Awards Committee for honoring us with four proposals being awarded. So the 3 proposals that we submitted, the first I'd like to mention, so mid-spring, of course, heading into the transition and trying to mimic the home away from home that we provide for students in the STEM Center was challenging. That said, we were able to have something of a live remote center that supported students with drop-in tutoring, study space, virtual, of course, with breakout rooms, access to certain faculty that wanted to host office hours there, also academic excellence workshops, and we also hosted supplemental instruction for chemistry, physics, math, some bio, computer science. So we continued to do that, last fall, and this spring we're now supporting approximately 300 students each semester, which is much better from the spring transition that happened last year during shelter in place. So we had a handful of tutors that already had supplied themselves with the tools to remotely help other students, and that would be the use of tablets. It's an efficient and effective use to convey a lot of the STEM content, which much of the time involves drawings, equations, anything else that you can imagine. So with some of these funds, we'll be purchasing 6 new tablets and accessories to support our staff and tutors that were not able to purchase their own, or replace some of those that were purchased with their own funds, which is fantastic. The other 2 proposals were textbook proposals, soft and hard copies. As maybe some of you know, textbook prices have increased exorbitantly. I think a 2012 fact, it was something over 800% increase with textbook. That's one of the most expensive things that students have to buy with. And for our 2 math courses that are kind of pre-transfer level math courses, linear algebra and differential equations, we now are going to purchase hard and soft copies for 2 class sets. And we'll be able to distribute those through a pre-established library checkout system, which is fantastic. And the 4th, which is ongoing and continuous, is the AES grant that Dave Schwartz mentioned. The STEM Center usually receives about 75% of that EAS grant, and it increases currently our live remote support and then in-person support to extend our hours to Saturday. So physics, math, computing, science, chemistry, bio, students can come in on Saturdays live in person when we're there, and remotely now. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it. Let's turn next to, on my list, I have Noelle Kelch, and likewise, Noelle, you've got several grants across a couple different funding streams. So thanks for being here. Oh, you're going to need to unmute, Noelle.
Sorry about that. It's been a long day already. A good day filled with lots of solutions coming forward. So thank you, Matt. And I'd really like to thank the foundation for what they bring to Cabrillo, to be able to come into the foundation and get feedback and to get help with writing grants. I'd also like to thank the Crocker Foundation, as well as the faculty grant system that we have within this college and the time that people give to that. I can't say what this is doing for our students. It's so amazing what has happened. 2 years ago, I met with Matt and Cynthia and Kathy, and we went over what we needed to do in hygiene to keep it going, to keep it moving, to get those things that we needed financially. And one of those was to do outside rotations. And outside rotations have turned into something more than we ever imagined. At this point, our goal had been to have 2 rotations. We're working on the 3rd and 4th rotation at this point, so the students will be going to some great places. What we found with this is, for our students, they've had culturally diverse experiences. They've learned about inclusions of populations that have never been imagined being able to reach, including seeing those on the street that are dealing with homelessness, going into centers where people are receiving services, the alternate settings that they've been to. We received a grant from ADIA, and we've been able to go into the Stroke and Disability Learning Center and do a project called Side by Side. This integrated medicine that they're doing, working side by side, has been really fruitful, and we're hoping that once the Stroke and Disability Center's back up and running, we'll be able to take that full stream. The sustainability is improving, and we've opened doors with advanced skills. We've gotten more marketable skills because of the money that went into the previous grants. This grant in particular, at this time, with the opportunity that COVID actually afforded us, because we had set the goal of meeting our students' needs and evaluated what they needed. And many of them voiced the concern of being away from home so much, because the dental hygiene program was requiring them to be gone 5 and sometimes 6 times a week out of their homes. And as a result, we've been able to get them online like we had planned in the past. The HIPAA boxes that that the grant is going to buy, those allow us to bring the HIPAA information out from our school into the public and back to our school and still be in compliance. The intraoral cameras allow us to actually email to a dentist live what we're seeing in the clinic and be able to get the results back. The calculus and perio models that allowed us during COVID to be able to have sim labs, and we'll be doing that this semester. And then finally, the anesthesia simulated labs have made it so we can be teaching in the clinic, have a lab going on at the same time, and meet the educational needs. So thank you very much for what you've done for us. And the sky's the limit. As each of these challenges come up, another solution comes with them.
Thank you, Noelle, and well-deserved honor at the start of the year too with the faculty award as well. Let's turn to David King in dance. There's a couple or 2 or 3, I think, David, that you can comment on. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, Cabrillo was really amazing, and having the opportunity to work for, to ask for things that don't operate within a normal funding cycle. And to the point about how does this one of these grants support our students? Well, it's the floor on which they stand. When we perform and when the students perform, they like to be able to take off from a surface, jumping, turning, landing backwards, and know that the surface will be the same texture when they land that when they took off. And we roll out a floor, and about 10 years ago when Crocker opened, we bought a floor, and it's been used hard and put away, and used hard and put away. And this allows us to, one of these grants allows us to buy a new floor. And oftentimes when I think of grants, I think of why this and why now. And this particular opportunity, this time to buy a new floor, well, the old floor was pretty wrecked, having been used hard, but it can still have a life outside. So buying a new floor allows us to take the old floor outside and wear it out, teaching classes outside when it's not safe to teach classes inside. So dancing outside in masks is what we will be doing this semester, weather allowing, and that will be a real boon for our students' mental health, for their sense of community and connection to Cabrillo, which has been a real challenge during this COVID time. Dance online is a challenge. The other half, or the other project, is bringing new and better sound equipment. Sound is foundational to teaching dance. Music is foundational, it connects to dance. And at Cabrillo, in the Watsonville Center, we've had, again, about a 10 to 15-year-old sound system, and we will be updating that. If you've never been to one of Janet John's end of semester celebrations of Dances of Mexico that she holds in the Watsonville Center, they are packed. Sometimes I wonder if the fire marshal would approve. There are so many people dancing and celebrating in A130. And this will allow us, this particular grant allows us to renew and renovate sound that is really largely was part of the 20th century and bring the equipment up. And two people were instrumental in putting these things together. One, Poco Marshall in theater operations, helped me measure floors and organize a new purchase, particularly finding vendors for purchasing the new Marley floor for the theater, for the Crocker Theater, so we can reuse and wear out the old floor outside. And Elk Latham, who is just amazing as a sound engineer, put together best practices equipment to give our teachers one button turning on and one button turning off sound. So I do thank the foundation and all of the generous donors who make that possible.
Thank you, David. And if you have not had a chance to see the dance recital from the fall semester, check it out on the VAPA website. It was pretty awesome, with some outdoor dancing included. Thanks for doing that, David. Appreciate it. All right, next on my list, I'm going to turn to Jeremy McVeigh in Culinary Arts. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Thank you, Matt. And firstly, I'd like to thank the foundation and the donors on behalf of the culinary department for, providing the funding for our grant, and we greatly appreciate it. So ours kind of has a couple different uses that we're planning on, and what the grant was for a large screen TV and a cart to house it. And we're going to be using it in our classes that are at Cessnon House, where we really didn't have very much in the way of AV for the classes that we held there. And the inspiration for it, the foundation might not really realize this, but one day I saw Lori Hood pushing a large screen TV on a cart down the hall to their space. And I thought, when I saw that, how come we don't do that instead of use a projector and screen for a lot of the kind of detailed imagery that we use at times when it comes to photography and so forth. So that was kind of the original inspiration for it. And now with our current circumstances, we're still teaching classes on campus, but we need to keep everybody distant, and utilizing the large screen TV in conjunction with camera will enable us to allow students to see techniques without having to come look over our shoulders or anything like that. So it's really kind of got multiple purposes. So we're just really excited to have, something that will help with student success. And how it will help with student success, obviously, if you can see stuff better, then that's going to just help them in their understanding of what we're trying to achieve. So we're super grateful, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks, Jeremy. And if we see you on cable TV on the Great American Santa Cruz British Baking Show, we'll know the idea came from here. Hey, I think I skipped a couple of people who, or might have come in, I missed them earlier. So I'm going to go back to a couple of folks in NAS division that I might have missed. So Carol Hoffman, I'm pretty sure you're in the room. Do you want to talk about your project, Carol?
Sure. Yeah, thanks. It's been really fun listening to everyone else's project. I've enjoyed doing that. And again, thanks also to the foundation and to the donors and to the committee. My project's sort of small. I requested an external camera so that I can do more than being just recording what's on my computer. So I do a lot of videos for anatomy and general biology, and I feel kind of stuck in showing them just what's on my computer. I have to be able to show them stuff like this and my bones, and I have a whiteboard back here, and so I feel like with an external camera I can do way more. So I'm really excited about that. I also got a computer stand, so I used to have my computer stacked on 5 bio texts, all my bio books. I was able to take that away, and I can adjust that also. So I'm really excited about my videos are going to look better now because I have an external camera. So that's my project. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carol. Much appreciated. Let me go also back down the list to Nicole Crane. Nicole, I might have skipped you in the first column. You can unmute. Sorry, maybe she dropped off there. Sorry about that. I'll come back if she does come back in the room. All right. Let's see, going down my list, let me go to Payson McNett. Payson, you're up. You're on deck. Nicole, I'll come back to you. Sorry.
All right, I'm Payson McNett.
I'm sorry.
We good? All right, so I got a grant for portable workstations. Everybody knows how amazing the VAPA Studio Arts facilities are, and we unfortunately can't really give students access to those. So our Art 5 classes, I've gathered and created toolkits for the students. And they can now get portable workstations to be able to work on their work at home. Many of them were unable to find a place to work, and they had to work on like the kitchen table or something like that. And we do a lot of plastic carving. So
Nicole, can you maybe try logging back in? Your audio is cracking up on my end. I don't know if it is for others. So thanks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but it's still breaking up a little bit.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Do you want me to try to go off and come back on?
Yes, please. Thanks.
Okay.
am I still going, or should I wrap it up? Or
No, go ahead, Payson. Sorry about that.
okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, wait, am I supposed to be talking or not? Sorry, it's the Zoom world we live in. So yeah, this is really great because the students, one of the big hurdles that they had was being able to actually have a good workspace to work from and not ruin the kitchen table and make a mess of everything. So this will be really great because they're folding portable workstations, and most of our portable workstations at Cabrillo in our facilities are really heavy, hard to move, and they're about falling apart. So once we're done with the COVID scenario, we'll have these workstations for students to check out from our tool room. And then also we're going to be offering the Art 5 class online. We're going to try to offer a section after everything is back in person, which is one of the silver linings. We've really dialed in this class, which was thought to be fairly difficult to teach online. And I think I've got it pretty well dialed in. The students really like it and are getting very similar projects and work done. So it's been great. And like always, as soon as we hit a roadblock, Foundations comes through for us, and we got $2,000 to get these portable workstations, which is huge. So thank you again.
Thank you, Pace, and also thanks for your patience with the audio problems. Really appreciate it. It's the Zoom. We just got to roll with it. Nicole, let's try again. Are you able to unmute and go for it? Oh no, I think we have the same problem again, Nicole. Sorry. Right.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go
Yeah.
for it.
So I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear me? No?
Yes, you're good. Go for it.
Well, I want to thank the foundation and Dave and the committee so much for this opportunity. So thank you all. So we have a program that you might have heard of, which is focusing on developing skills for students who are going to transfer in biology, and also those who are interested in going off and getting jobs. And so our program is really designed to give them specific skills that they can get letters of accomplishment or verification, as well as a certification, which we're working on now. So this grant, slightly over $1,900, is going to allow us to buy Swift microscopes with built-in cameras that students can take home with them. And this is part of a program where the students will be collecting samples and contributing those to the national NOAA database for plankton, as well as other organisms. But the initial one is plankton. So they're part of a real research program. They're trained for that. So they get a letter that acknowledges that training. They collect the samples, they analyze the samples. And because we have these microscopes, they can meet in small groups face-to-face to collect the data, the samples. Then they can go back to their own homes and log in with their microscopes. And because they have cameras, they can share those with their larger group, and we can do identification together of all the plankton, which is really a powerful tool. So actually, it's not just for COVID. This is going to last well beyond COVID, because we'll be using the same system in the classrooms, and it allows the students to work in groups, identify them, and also to develop our online picture library of identification for all the plankton. So they can upload these via the cameras. They can take the pictures and videos right there, upload them, and then sequence them in the library of photos. So that's incredibly powerful for them, and it's a great skill. Finally, all of the students in that program are required to do an outreach component. So they have to develop a talk for a high school. They have to develop a brochure for the public. They have to conduct a symposium. So some sort of outreach that talks about citizen science and the importance of monitoring. And these pictures and videos are what they're going to be using to create those presentations with. So for these students, it's going to give them skills not only in sciences, but also in outreach, which more and more in the job market in the sciences is becoming very, very important to getting good jobs. And then, of course, it's for those students who want to transfer. So important for students of biology is to be able to go into labs when they're in upper division classes. And the best way to get into a good lab is to have a background and experience having worked in a lab doing exactly this kind of thing. So I really want to thank you that the students have an overwhelmingly positive feedback of this program. Many of them get back to me and say they're getting jobs and internships and all kinds of things. They're super excited about it. So this is going to allow us to carry this on through COVID. And actually the enrollment is up because everybody's hearing about this plan to put microscopes out. So our enrollment is good, really good right now. And then, of course, well beyond COVID for not just this class, but also our other biology classes. So we're very, very excited for this technology. Thank you. And I hope you heard it. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. Great learning.
Thank you, Matt.
And
Thank
great collaborative work too. All right, let's jump to.
And Matt, I'm sorry, Matt, can I say one last thing that I really want to say? This program has also been reaching out to our tribal partners, the Amamutsan tribal band, getting them, they're really interested in getting involved in the oceans. And so we're really reaching, I think, a population that has not been reached so much. And we're super excited about that. We had 12 of their tribal members in our program last semester. Thanks.
That is dynamite. Thank you, Nicole. Really appreciate it. All right, let's jump to Dawn Nakanishi. Dawn, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Grants Committee. David, you've been the chair for such a long time. Thank you for all your hard work with your committee members. And I know things don't happen by themselves. So thank you to you and our wonderful Cabrillo Foundation and all of our donors and supporters. Again, there's no other community college four-year school that I know of that is so generous and every year provides this opportunity for faculty and staff. So really appreciate it. I received a grant for $1,200 to replace some really well-needed tools that are the workhorse of our area. They help our students learn high temperature soldering. And so this is one of our old torches that is probably around 50 years old. And they do last a long time, so this is a great investment. So I hope that they last another 60 years. And I have to say, Claire Biancalana, you hired me back in '97, and I've been here for 24 years and have been a very happy recipient of many, many faculty grants to help our students, and it's been wonderful. And so our students, about 8 of our classes, learn high temperature soldering, which is a basic skill for jewelry fabrication and design work. And, you know, we're really lucky to have such a vibrant art department and to have a diverse offering of metal arts. And so our students end up transferring to San Jose, Humboldt, San Diego, CSU Long Beach. We have programs there that have MFA graduate programs in small scale metals and jewelry. So it's really wonderful to have this opportunity for our students here. So let's see, and our students that don't transfer, they go directly, a lot of them, into open studios. So many of our participating jewelry artists came from Cabrillo and learned, were in our beginning classes, either my classes or Linda Watson or Angela Gleason's. So it's really great to be supported and be a part of the community, and thank you, really appreciate it. And again, I'm also blown away by all of our other faculty recipients and what they're doing with their funds. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Awesome. Great to see. So I'm going to go down our list on the third column. I think Joanne Panzardi is here and also Sylvia Rios. So Joanne, do you want to unmute?
Sure. Thank you so much to the foundation and all the committees. Clara, it's great to see you. Owen, Rachel, it's really great. So I'm here with Sylvia Rios, the engineering department, and VAPA, the ceramics art studio art department, work together. Our students work together. So if you've been on campus, the 800 building is totally awesome. On the east end of the 800 building, it's a STEM building. On the east end is this block wall, if those of you could think of what a cinder block looks like, this huge block wall that's housing the HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning for the building. It's kind of a boring wall. So the art department and the engineering department came together with our students and we designed a 3D ceramic mural for that building. And so the engineering students, predominantly in engineering 25, and then the art students and some community students in Sylvia's Art 92 class came together to do this community mural project. Sylvia, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure, I'll inject a couple of words. You're
Okay,
doing a
great.
great job though, Joanne. You don't really need me. The students have been super involved, have really loved it. And this is, we have to distinguish because we're making a ceramic mural and made out of tiles that are shaped individually. We're not doing a mosaic where you take existing glazed tiles and break them and reassemble them. So this is a truly creative effort. by all the students who are involved. And it's taking a while, and then we were finishing it during the beginning of COVID. And when that hit, it really caused an interruption, but the momentum is still there. I still have some people very dedicated to doing it. And as soon as we can clear out a little bit more of the vaccines, we're dovetailing with Sophie in the ceramics area, and Payson's also collaborating with use of some of his studio space. And then Joanne has some space up in her lab where we're going to be assembling the mural, glazing it, firing it, and then moving it up to Joanne's room, her lab, and then assembling it there so that it can then be installed in patches. Because the thing is, the most ginormous jigsaw puzzle you can imagine. If COVID means jigsaw puzzles to people, this is a 10-foot by 20-foot jigsaw puzzle is what it is.
Amazing.
So it's coming together. It's going to be wonderful. We're involving many students, and we're enrolled in the class, them are signing up volunteers, and also community members. And it's kind of an all hands on deck thing until we get it all done, which we hope to do by the end of this coming semester in the spring. So anyway, there it is.
And
what should I add?
I want to say, notice that we didn't tell you what the design is, right? Because there's going to be an unveiling. But we will say that it has an engineering theme, but a community theme about sustainability and where we live and the importance of culture and the importance of the environment. And it'll be really cool. And it's so amazing because I'm totally comfortable making these tiles that are very have right angles and everything. But you should see what Sylvia's students have done. They've made, I'm not going to tell you, they've done these little things that are just so amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for all the support.
Okay, yes. Matt, I just unmuted myself and I know I shouldn't have, but I just have to say that I have a huge smile on my face. I cannot wait to see that when it's done. That is just, it's beyond, I don't even have a word for it. I just keep using cool, but that doesn't even, very, very cool.
Yeah, it's not enough. The other thing is thank you, Joanne and Sylvia, for doing it and for the funding to support it. But also, Ann Endress is not here, but there's another grant that was awarded to do a mural for one of the elevator towers on campus. So I love that we're going to see much more of a public-facing public art that's community oriented, but also around the CAPS and academic disciplines as well. So thank you, you guys. Really appreciate it. I'm going to turn to Mark Ramsey. And Mark, maybe you can talk also about not only the Hawk one that was under your set, but maybe also James Page's as well. I'm not sure if James.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And thank you. I started getting these grants years ago, and it's a great opportunity for faculty and for departments to get items they need. And it's just great to hear these stories. So we were able to purchase some. You think about in COVID times, you watch TV now and you see people together and you're like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, our baseball and softball teams using the same helmets and same bats, it just seemed really gross to us, and it's not safe and it doesn't follow our protocol or regulations or anything. So if we were going to get back into participation, we wanted everyone to have their own helmet and their own bat. And these grants are allowing us, with the equipment we already had, these grants will allow us to do that. So I really appreciate it. The athletes appreciate it. The coaches appreciate it. And it'll keep everyone safe and healthy during this time. So it's a great opportunity. So thank you for that. And James, our Wellness Center director, since he's started, he has had this Go Green initiative in the Wellness Center just to make that place more energy efficient and just better for our campus. And so he's had multiple projects. And this project was to purchase a treadmill that builds its own energy. The treadmills in there just eat up the electrical sources, and they burn out, and the motors burn out. We've lost probably 7 treadmills up there. And so the treadmills that he's replacing, he's bringing in these energy efficient treadmills that produce energy as you use them. So it's really neat. And we're able to, I think we have 3 so far. With this grant, we're able to get another one, and we have a couple more coming. So hopefully they'll all the treadmills in there at some point will be these green energy efficient treadmills. So it's awesome, and we thank you. And as soon as we get back on campus, you guys can all come and use the treadmill someday in the future. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. And I saw James come in. James, you want to say like 1 or 2 words?
Happy to do so. Can't say thanks enough for the support from the foundation over these years and what we're trying to do here and trying to make, limit our carbon footprint that we're putting on this planet. Cabrillo is one of those beautiful places that supports us in that way. And actually, Mark, we're up to 7 treadmills now. Mark, we're up to 7, and we got maybe like 4 or 5 more to replace over the next couple of years that are planned to do. But these treadmills are amazing. They will get to the point where they'll actually end up powering the entire wellness center at some point. So we'll be using no electricity at all, and that just helps save the college money. And like I said, it's really just trying to limit our carbon footprint. So we're very appreciative. Can't thank everyone enough for all the support. And yes, I do hope we get back to normal soon, so I can see all you guys in them, utilizing them, running on them, and getting these COVID-19 pounds that I've been putting on off myself. So I need to help. I need the help as much as anybody. But thank you guys so much, and thanks, Prez. Appreciate you guys' time.
Thanks, James. And I know we're running a little long, but we only have a couple more folks left, so hang in there. Past 5 o'clock. So next up, Claire Thorson. Go ahead, Claire.
I wasn't sure which meeting to go to this afternoon. So right now I'm going to thank the foundation and the committees and the donors for the grant for the Crosstalks series, which will be a series of storytelling events about careers in creative arts and design. I'm really trying to merge with the new CAPS and create community around those new CAPS, and also give students an opportunity to get a sense of what it looks like to be in a career in creative arts and design. I'm looking forward to collaborating with other people in the CAP. And this sort of builds off of prior series talks that we've done that have been successful and inspiring. And this will be a little different because we'll be able to do it on Zoom, and it will be more cross-disciplinary, which I think will be a good thing in this time. So thank you very much for the support, and come and listen to one of these talks, crosstalks. I might ask you who you would like to listen to. So I look forward to getting it all in motion. And I'm going to turn it over to Beverly Rayner for the other grant that we sort of co-wrote. It has my name on it, but it was a joint effort. It was a collaborative effort.
All right, thank you, Claire. Yeah, I want to thank you, Claire, for actually putting a fire under us on this one. The gallery, I'm the director of the Cabrillo Gallery, and I teach in art photo and art studio. And the gallery track lighting system is as old as that gallery space, which is over 20 years. And track lighting gets a lot of wear and tear because we change the fixtures for every show and move them around to light the artwork. And it has become rather decrepit and rather scary sometimes. Some of the track areas don't work, and some are so messed up that when I move the lights around, they spark, which is not good when you're on top of a 9-foot ladder. So I'm really excited about this in more ways than one. And every year we have these old light fixtures that are part of the system, and they break, and you can't get them fixed, and you can't buy new ones because the track system is so old. So we really can't do anything with what we've got right now. And we're running on less and less lights all the time, which makes it harder to light our exhibitions. And we have to have well-lit exhibitions to make them look good and for people to see them. So we got an estimate a couple of years back from FPPO for this project, just to get an idea of what it might cost us. And they came back with an estimate of $10,000. And I thought, oh boy, we're going to have some kind of angel come along, because there's no way we can raise those funds ourselves. So this past fall, Claire said, hey, I know you guys have wanted new lighting for a long time. Let's write, why don't we write a grant? And she just jumped right in. I'm like, I thought, no way, we're never going to get $10,000. And she said, well, we can just try, you never know. And lo and behold, we got a $10,000 grant, which was just mind-blowing and phenomenal. And I can't thank the foundation and the donors and the committee enough for bestowing this amount of money on us to do something we couldn't possibly do for ourselves. So we're going to be able to continue to properly light our exhibitions so our students can see the shows and our viewing audience can see the shows. And the gallery does support, the art department and the photo department and art history, but it also serves the entire campus and our entire community. So it's really important for us to look good. And there's a couple of classes that serve all of the photo and studio classes, which are gallery and museum viewing labs, and the gallery does serve them as well. So this is going to be a great upgrade to our system, and we can carry on for another 20 years now with good lighting. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Beverly. Thanks, Claire. Great projects. Really appreciate it. So we've got two left. Greg Metler is up, and then on deck, Robin West. Go ahead, Greg.
Hello, everyone. I'm in the photo department. I don't have the cool background like Janet and Leslie, but I am part of the photo department. I just wanted to thank the ASCC for the grant that I was awarded. It was $2,300. Like Janet mentioned, we've been working really hard to try to keep photo vibrant during this time. And it's a little difficult because photo is so hands-on. And we have an amazing lighting studio, but it's filled with really expensive equipment that's not very portable. And some of that stuff you have to be trained on before you can use, because we're not just going to send somebody out with a $1,500 lighting kit that we haven't worked with, and we can't work with everybody. So I thought we need to get a hold of some inexpensive lighting kits that students can take out and check out. So with this $2,300, we can purchase about 16 LED lights with stands, like LED light panels that students can check out, go shoot and use, and then return, and then we can clean them up, make them safe, and send them out again with another group of students. And the cool thing about LED light panels is they can be used for video too, because they're a constant light, not a flash. So these LED light panels will be able to be used with our still photo courses, but also with our video courses. So it's just a perfect thing for us to have right now during this time to get them out. And then of course, when COVID's over, they're still going to be available for students to check out and use whenever they want as just an inexpensive light that they could take with them. And these are also lights that people in other mediums can use too, to document their work or to shoot video or do whatever they want to do. So there's just a whole wealth of things we could do with these lights. And while I have you guys, Sean Peeler is in our group as well, but he's not here. And he was also awarded a grant by the ASCC for $643. And what he's purchasing with that money are kits that you can use with iPhones that allow you to create pro video effects with. So it's a microphone and like a little steady cam that you attach to a iPhone, so you can shoot really cool video, and students can take those out as well. So all this money is just going right into students' hands and allowing them to create cool photo stuff. So
That's
thank
great.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Gregory. And that's great. The students are going to be using it to document the mural projects, it sounds like, in the chat window. All right, Robin West. Robin, you are up. Bring it home. Okay, we may have lost Robin. I know that Robin put in for a couple of projects that are for basic needs for our students, some emergency blankets, and also to help to get some hygiene kits in our pantry for students who are most in need, most of the time homeless. So thank you to Robin. And just want to close by saying I'm blown away every year that I've been here to see these presentations. So thank you to all the faculty and all the staff and all the foundation staff who've been involved in selecting these projects. It's just super work. So thank you. Claire, I'm going to turn it back to you now. Claire Biancalana, sorry, not Claire Thorson. Sorry.
All right, thanks, Matt. It took me a while to find my unmute. So I am want to congratulate all of the grant recipients. And I want to tell you how impressed I am with each of your projects. They're really wonderful. And I am brought to tears by the idea of collaboration between the engineering department and the arts department. I just can't even believe it. It's wonderful. So before we adjourn, I'd like to recognize someone very special, and that's David Schwartz. Dave, I wish that we were together so we could stand together for this. As I mentioned earlier, Dave is the department chair for geology, oceanography, environmental science, and he will be retiring at the end of this academic year after 35 years as a full-time instructor. I want to tell you about the first time I met him. I was sitting calmly in my office in the old administration building, and all of a sudden this whirlwind bursts into my office and stands right over the top of me. And he goes, "Claire, I'm Dave. I have a new master's degree in environmental science. And I know that Bob Buchanan is retiring." I didn't know that. "And he teaches geology and oceanography. And I teach those things. And I want his job." I was blown away. Fortunately, we got to sit and talk for a while, and I got to learn a little bit more about him. And I told him about the hiring committee and the whole process you'd have to go through. And fortunately, the hiring committee decided that he would be the new instructor. And we're very, very lucky because he's, as you know, he's fantastic. He's so caring with his students, and he's focused on them all the time. And he also knows how important it is to make connections with the community. So I know that you've heard about all of his projects with the students in the community. He's just great. And we're very fortunate to have him all of these years. He has been with the Faculty Grants Committee for over 30 years. So, you know, he's doing that because he's trying to find more projects for his students and more money for students. And he's been chairing it for 16 years, and he's seen the grant program grow tremendously from being able to award a few $1,000s. So Beverly and Claire, you never would have got the $10,000 grant because there wasn't $10,000 to give. So to a few $1,000s to over $100,000 annually. He's such an important part of the college and so important to the faculty grants program. Yeah. He's going to be missed by everybody. And so congratulations on your decision to retire, Dave. And let's give him a big round of applause, please.
We all unmute and give him applause. All unmute.
Yeah, yay!
Thanks, you guys. Can I say one thing? I really miss not seeing all of you in person, live. And my hope is maybe by May, at the end of the academic year with masks, maybe somehow, some way outside, we can gather around and celebrate Cabrillo College.
I'm gonna ask you to stay another term, another year when we come back, Dave. So you can see us all again.
Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. Yeah, I miss you.
You guys don't know who
I
I
am.
am.
450 every time. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm
I miss
so
you.
upset, but you deserve it. Congratulations.
We follow each other in the forum for many years.
450.
Thank you, Claire. So much.
And thank you all so much for being here. Have a great semester.
This is my wife, Vera Brown, too, by the way.
If you wonder who this stand-in was, this model here, the dog, that's Alvin. And the supportive wife. We love you guys. He loves Cabrillo. Claire, you're thankful. So thankful you hired him. I know. We'll
Sounds
talk
like he
later,
didn't have
honey.
a choice. He was in complete charge.
Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great semester. Ciao.
Thanks,
Bye.
man.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. This was really
good
great, by the
semester.
way. Very cool. First time I've come to this, and it was really, really cool to listen to this stuff. Very cool. I feel like I'm real lazy now. I feel like I have to do something. All these people are doing all this great stuff. Okay, I'll try to work on that.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen, Caitlin. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Dave.
Thank you all.
Bye, Dave. Bye, Vera. We'll see you.
Oh, thank you. Good night. Oh.
Night.
Hey, Carolyn, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks, you guys. Great work. Really fun.
Yeah, see you soon. All right, bye.
Bye.
Hi,
See ya.
Carolyn. Thanks so much for being here.